Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in again. I have got a big announcement for you today, and I've got a really good tip that will help eliminate line twists, which we all know is one of the enemies of the angler, because if you have a lot of line twist, it weakens your line, it prevents good casting, causes knots, causes backlashes. Line twist is not something we're a fan of, and I've got two really good tips that will help you prevent it that I think a lot of anglers are not aware of. So we'll get into that, but first I want to give you my big announcement, which is that I'm going to be starting a second channel with Johnny Schultz of Fish the Moment, Randy Blockett of Intuitive Angling, Miles Berghoff of Sonar Fishing, Jimmy Easterling, who does a lot of the editing work of Fish the Moment, as well as Kyle Cordiana of Kyle Cordiana Fishing. Guys, we all love bass fishing. We all love sharing our knowledge, and we want to help everyone else catch more fish and really learn to love the sport like we do. So we've come together to start a second channel called Bass Fishing Declassified, where we're going to be sharing all of our knowledge with you guys to hopefully help you catch more fish. So if you like the content that I put out, or Randy, or Miles, or Johnny at Fish the Moment, please go and subscribe to Bass Fishing Declassified so that we can get this channel up and running. We're going to put out 2 or 3 videos per week that are really going to dive in depth into certain topics that are really just going to help everyone catch more fish and learn at the same time. So go check out Bass Fishing Declassified. I'm really excited to start the channel. I'll put the link in the video description so that you can find it really easily. And that's the big announcement. I've got more announcements coming for you soon, but I can't quite let the cat out of the bag on those. But I do have 2 really good tips for you that will help you eliminate line twist. You know, line twist, as I mentioned, is one of those things that can ruin your day on the water because it can cause knots, it can cause you to get backlashes, and just really blow up your day of fishing. So the best thing you can do is identify where that line twist is coming from. And 2 things I want to point out are things that people don't recognize much. The first being that if you're using a plastic bait, or any bait for that matter, but generally speaking your jigs or your plastics or your Texas rigs, when you're fishing, make sure that the knot is coming right off the top of that hook eye. You want that knot to be pulling your bait straight forward. If you do that, your bait will not twist in the water. But how many times, guys, do you go to like re-rig a bait or look at your bait, pull a weed off your bait, and what you find is that knot is pulled down underneath the hook eye, just like that. So when you're fishing it, it's pulling the bait to the side. What that's going to do is cause line twist. So when that comes through the water, it's going to rotate like a helicopter. And that's one thing that causes a ton of line twist that we don't even recognize. So it's very important to go and check your knot position on your hook eye to make sure that it is facing forward and in a straight line. You can see my knot is straight on the top of the eye. The bait runs just fine. There is no spinning at all. If I rotate, put the knot in the corner, you can see it's underneath now. Watch the spinning action that happens. See that? The other is when you get baits, like for instance, this is the Crash Craw by Berkeley. When you get baits that have lines put down the bait for where your hook is supposed to go on both sides, make sure that your hook goes in that slot. If that hook is in that slot, the bait will run neutral and parallel through the water and run the way it's supposed to. If you come out, say on the side, because your bait is maybe all torn up, and you rig it so that that bait is off-centered just a little bit, that's going to want to rotate the bait in the water. These baits are made to run, you know, where they've got a specific position of the hook, and that hook will act as a keel or a rudder and want to rotate the bait if it's not in a perfect spot. So if you're using baits that come with pre-made slots, I highly recommend that you make sure that the hook is mounted right down that slot. I mean, not only does that help it become a little bit weedless, but it also makes sure that the bait runs parallel or perfectly in the water as you're retrieving it, and therefore you do not get line twists. So make sure when you're out fishing that the knot is in the correct position and that the hook is in the correct position. I know a lot of us want to go and make sure a bait can last as long as possible after you've been using it, but the reality is if you've blown through that hook slot and now you're hooking off to the side, it could be causing you a lot more problems. So just, you know, a friendly reminder next time out to make sure that you're doing those two things, because they will drastically reduce the amount of line twist. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed this. Just a quick video. Go check out Bass Fishing Declassified. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this tip. Share it on your social media pages, and stay tuned. We'll have another video coming out tomorrow.